The crocuses are blooming, which is the first true sign of spring here. And it's stressing me out. Normally crocuses make me really happy, seeing their beautiful little faces, but we actually use them as a tool here on our farm. When the crocuses finally bloom, it means that our soil is warm enough that we can germinate cold hardy seeds in the ground. So crocuses blooming means I need to be planting. And I have nothing planted. I have crocuses here, I have crocuses here, and I have crocuses here. But I have nowhere to plant any seeds. Here on Red Roof Family Farm in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada, we sell down at the farmer's market and also at a roadside stand here on the farm. We are going into our 4th year farming, and our big goal for the year is to make more than $0. We are a zone 5, and that means we don't have a very long season. Every day that I don't plant these seeds is a day less of flowers. And every day less of flowers is less money that we can make on the farm. And every day that we don't get to work is a day that brings us closer to another season of making 0 profit. So this week, we need to get caught up. We can't start the season already so far behind schedule. We're gonna push really hard and we're gonna get back on track.
So that's where I come in. That compost isn't gonna move itself. And Serina needs me to get those beds prepped so she can start planting seeds in the ground. So let's do it.
We got time on our side. We're in a state of hope. I need you on my fire. I want you to know that every time you're away, I long for you so much I can find my way. We got everything here, at least to stay alive, and the time that we share makes it all worthwhile. Got this place on our own. Do you feel that we got something strong? And I saw you walking the line, and the truth may come as a surprise that with you I feel alive. You'll be the last one I think about. We got time on our side. We're in a state of hope. I need you on my fire. I want you to know that every time you're away, I long for you so much I can find my way. And I saw you walking the line, and the truth may come as a surprise that with you I feel alive. You will be the last one I think about. When it all breaks down, I'll wait for you right here. And I swear that we got nothing to fear.
I've been working hard the last couple days to get some beds prepped for Serina. So we got 10 beds that are ready to go, and almost the rest of the farm now it's not ready to go, but you know, if I need to open up some more beds, they're kind of almost there. So that's feeling good. Once we get some seeds in the ground and get these 10 beds planted and you know, stuff can start germinating, then it's gonna feel like we're making steps towards actually getting caught up.
we have a disaster. This is exactly what I've been worrying about. This is the problem with how behind schedule we are. It causes disasters like this. This tray is unfortunately not bean sprouts, which is what it looks like. These are tomatoes that I've had in my germination chamber, and I've completely messed them up. We have this old fridge, which we've turned into a germination chamber. We have a fish tank heater that we use to put a little bit of heat in it. Closes up, holds all the humidity, and it works really well. I was in here yesterday checking. I check on them every single day, and not a single thing had started to grow, you know, and then I open it up today and everything is just, you know, grown like crazy. And this, I don't know. I don't know what's going to be salvageable out of this. You know, I don't know if it's worth trying to get them to, you know, to bounce back, or if I should just restart. But restarting means I've lost a week. There's also some trays where, you know, because I didn't buy tomatoes this year because I have so many. There's some trays where these are the only seeds that I had. This is like my red torch and my bronze torch, and I don't know that I have more of these. So, I don't know.
You're too good at germinating things.
This isn't too good. This is a full-on hardcore fail.
Yeah, but it happens so fast.
It happens so fast. You know, and this is like the hard thing about the farming. You need to have so much attention. You know, this is the hard thing about the seedlings. Like, you need to be checking them many, many times a day. And it's hard to do when there's so much to get done.
Look how tall they are.
I know. I don't know if there's anything I can do to salvage these. The other complication with, you know, these being germinated is I have no lights. I have nowhere to put them. Everything is full, so, you know, I need to find this time to be able to plant things out. At this point, those have to be under lights. They can't not be under lights. My ranunculus, these, you know, I guess I can pull them off. You know, now we're triaging. It's like what needs the most attention, the most focus. So these, I'm gonna throw them out of the garage. I'm gonna try to find a solution. If they're not under lights for a day, they're not gonna die. But, you know, something needs to happen. I'm just really disappointed in myself. I know better than to do this. This is a very simple rookie mistake, and you know, to do something like this, it means that, you know, I don't have the focus that I need to be having. You know, it's like I've really let myself down by doing this. And this is a mistake that's going to be difficult to recover from. You know, the consequences of this aren't dire because this is stuff that's basically for us. It's not something that, you know, has a specific sell-by date. You know, so, you know, messing it up, I don't know. It just, you know, we don't have space for mistakes like this. And the fact that I made such a simple mistake, you know, it's the type of mistake that I haven't made from, you know, one of my first years of growing things. It's really disappointing. I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know if these are salvageable, but I don't have the time to come up with a solution. So they can hang out here. I can give them a day or two and see what they're gonna do and try to decide what is gonna be my steps going forward. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Growing for Market magazine. Growing for Market magazine has been the trusted source for organic farmers for over 31 years. It doesn't matter if you're a commercial grower or you just want to grow like one. With thousands of archived articles that are easily searchable with a full access subscription, you'll find the info that you need. All articles are written by farmers for farmers, and it doesn't matter if you love growing veggies or flowers, if you're selling at the farmer's market or doing a CSA, bootstrapping tools or using professional greenhouses, there will be an article for you. Subscriptions start as low as $30 per year. Check out the link below in the description to get 25% off any new subscription at growingformarket.com.
What just happened?
I just got a call from FedEx, which is very important because we have been stressing out because we have lisianthus plugs in the mail that were supposed to be here 3 days ago. This means they've been in the mail for 5 days, which is a lot of days for live plants to be just hanging out in a box, who knows where. So we need to go pick them up right now and see how they look, and fingers crossed they're still good, because those lisianthus are a huge part of our farm plant for this year. Lisianthus has been such a pain in the butt for us over the last couple years. Last year, I spent $100 on lisianthus seeds, and I didn't get a single lisianthus. The big plan for this year was we spent $1,000 on lisianthus plugs, and I thought the hard part was going to be growing them and actually getting them to bloom. But getting these plugs themselves has been a surprising amount of stress, and I'm really nervous to see what they're going to end up looking like. Now we have to get home and see what they look like. That's the real test. Moment of truth. This is it. This is if all the stressing was worth stressing about.
Because these have been in the mail for like 5 days.
It's been 5 days. They got held up at customs, and so it was supposed to be 2 days. It ended up being 5 days. And these are tiny little seedlings. So that is a very long time for them to be without water. So I'm very nervous. This is the first time we've ever gotten plants shipped to us, so. Okay. Please don't be crusty little sad. Oh, it's looking green. It's looking green.
Oh. Well, that makes me happy.
So that looks pretty good. That's pretty much best case scenario.
They're bigger than I was expecting.
Yeah,
for
they look
288s.
really nice for 288s. Looking pretty good. This isn't all for us. This is for like a group. So yeah, they look really good. Oh, I was so stressed. It's time to do the plant shuffle because all of these, there's 17 trays here, need to get onto this rack to get them under some light, but a little bit more sheltered because they are going to be sad after having spent 5 days in a box. I was having a hard time sleeping the other night, stressing about these. It's a lot of money for us here on the farm to be able to sell 1,000 plants worth of lisianthus, but these aren't only our plants. So I was just stressing about, you know, the responsibility of also potentially messing up other people's farm plans too.
So very happy to see them here and healthy.
I was pretty stressed too because we had such bad luck last year with lisianthus trying to start them ourselves. So it was like this year the obvious solution was to just buy them as starts, and then if that didn't turn out as well, it's like, are we even going to be able to grow them? But you know, they did a good job of packing them. Now we can concentrate on getting all the work done so we can get them in the ground.
These lisianthus being here are, you know, a little bit of what we've been talking about how important it is to keep on top of things and how we're feeling behind schedule. The plan is we are going to plant these, you know, straight into the ground. It was kind of like as soon as they got here, we're going to plant them. And we are not ready to plant them yet because we have so many other things that need to get planted. So it's so important that we get caught up in the next couple days because these are very, very small plugs and they need to get into the ground or potted up. They need work. So we need to clear up some time, clear up that traffic jam, and keep everything flowing into the ground. We needed the lights for the lizzies to be able to start hardening them off, but the plan was we were supposed to have everything on that rack planted out already, and we didn't. So now everything that was hardened off is now in this little outdoor mini low tunnel. And this is what we use as our nursery at this time of year. We aren't having any freezing nights, and these are cold hardy plants, so they'll be happy out here, but it shelters them a little bit. It allows them to start getting used to the natural sunlight, allows them to start getting used to the wind blowing them around without blowing them to death. So they'll spend a few days here and hopefully we'll get them all planted. One of the most important things that we needed to get done this week in order to get caught up is we had to get all these cold weather seedlings planted out, like the ranunculus. And I'm about halfway through planting them. I have 2 full beds of ranunculus that we're going out in here. Being delayed on planting things out causes a lot of problems, not just about, you know, how late into the season we're gonna be harvesting, but it also causes a lot more work for me. You know, working with these ranunculus when I'm breaking them up to plant them into the ground, it's taking a lot more work than if I would have planted them out, you know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. The plants are so overgrown that the roots are all, you know, matted in together. It takes way longer to pull them apart. I have to dig a way bigger hole. So, you know, this job to do these 2 beds, it's gonna take me an entire day pretty much, when normally it's, you know, it would only take about half the amount of time. I'm getting it done, which means we are getting caught up, but you know, there's consequences to that falling behind. My job yesterday was planting out the greenhouse. Check that one off the list, which feels really incredible. This was also a huge pain in the butt. My soil blocks, you know, this entire row took forever. They were overgrown, so all the roots were grown together. It was just a mat, and so it took 3-4 times longer than it normally would to have to carefully rip apart every single plant, But you know, it's been a day and they haven't died. There's some really exciting stuff in this greenhouse. These are gonna be some of our earliest flowers. These are gonna be the things that are gonna get us through for that after, when the tulips and those early ranunculus kind of start finishing off. This is what's gonna, you know, carry us into those summer flowers. The center bed is where we did some overwintering experiments. So we have a bunch of feverfew in a few different colors, which is looking very happy, very healthy. This section was a less successful experiment. I filled it in with other seedlings, but what I had overwintering here is Dara, and only about a quarter of it survived. But even so, it's Dara looking very happy and very healthy, so we will get a little bit of an early flush. Then I have some Rudbeckia in here. I can't remember what specific variety this is, but you know, it wasn't looking great, but it's coming along and it's way further ahead of the stuff that's outside. And then I have this lush, beautiful crop of yarrow. I think this is summer berries, so these would be like a mix of pink colors. And these, they're like so far ahead of our outside yarrow, so I'm really excited. The most important thing in this tunnel is this bed here. This we didn't overwinter. This, you know, just got planted out yesterday. But I'm hopeful that they're early enough that we're gonna get an early flush. These are all my snapdragons. And the varieties that I've planted in the greenhouse are a Costa variety and Chantilly, which are both some of the earliest blooming snapdragon varieties. This bed has hundreds of snapdragons in it. I probably have 600 snapdragons planted in here, so this is gonna mean a lot of stems, and I'm really excited. Snapdragons are so incredible to have, especially in that early season. This row is our experiment row, and there's a bunch of stuff that I've never grown before, like this is dianthus. These are a special variety that will bloom in the first year. Most of the like Sweet William style dianthuses won't actually bloom in the first year. They have to be grown for a season before you get blooms, but not these ones. They're expensive and they're looking pretty happy so far. They're in these like tiny little soil plugs, so they're going to be very happy to be into the ground in this nice, beautiful covered space. Then I have some calendula, which is so overgrown. I don't know if they're gonna bounce back. They've been blooming in their like tiny little soil blocks. Very, very sad plants. But calendula is so hardy. I'm sure, you know, getting their feet into the soil, they'll be going with blooms in no time. This is Orlay, which we've never grown before. Makes these like pretty like little cluster white flowers. And this might be a little tight because I was nervous about how healthy the plants were. I think I'm gonna have some loss, some dying off on it, but these plants, they can get massive, so it'll be fun to see what these do. And then I have some Ammi in here, some Queen Anne's lace. So these, yet again, fingers crossed that they survive, and you know, this, even though it's a tiny little section, could produce, you know, hundreds of stems. And then finally I have Green Mist, which I think is an Ammi, but it could be a Dara. These are a similar idea to the Queen Anne's lace, you know, nice big filler, but in the green tones, which I'm obsessed with. So if I can have these early, that'll make me very happy. We also have this greenhouse where we planted our very first planting of ranunculus last week, and they're looking pretty good. And this greenhouse, even though it looks empty, is technically full because this is where all those lisianthus that showed up are gonna go. Feels really good to be getting things into the ground. The spring is one of the busiest and craziest times here on the farm. We ended up getting rid of the seedling sale for this year because the seedling sale has always just been an overwhelming amount of work. It's so hard to get the farm ready and to get the plants for selling into the farm without that extra burden of selling seedlings. So it's taken a huge amount off our plate by getting rid of that. You know, our workload is down to only 50%. But I've still been feeling really stressed out with how we've been falling behind on everything. I have a saying, nothing will grow until something is planted. And, you know, that's supposed to be a positive statement about, you know, get out there and make it happen. But at this time of year, it can just feel like a lot of pressure because nothing will grow in my farm unless I plant it. You know, it's hard to be so far behind at the very beginning of the season. It's hard to be so far behind when nothing has really happened yet. You know, it makes me feel like I'm a failure when I'm failing at keeping up with the very beginning of my farm plan. You know, and the goal is to be a success. So it's hard to start off on that, you know, that wrong foot for the season. It's been 2 days since we picked up the lisianthus, and they're looking really good still. They're massive. I need to get them into that spot in the greenhouse pretty soon. So I have them out here. This is in front of our garage door, and this is where I have been hardening things off. I was a little bit worried about the lisianthus because they'd been in the dark in a box for 5 days, so I didn't want to stick them, you know, straight into the sun. So they're here, they're getting like filtered light, a sheltered wind. This week, I want to get these into the ground too. Once these are in the ground, that's when I'm going to feel good. Once these are in the ground, then I'm going to feel like I'm fully on schedule again. But there's one very important thing that still hasn't been done yet that needs to get finished. We need to get those seeds into the ground. We need to pull out our seeder. I have this many seeds to plant. I have a lot. Where did this seeder go? I love my Jang seeder. This is probably one of our favorite tools here on the farm. This is a really common tool for veggie market gardeners. You know, we use this to plant almost all of the veggies that we grow. And I don't see very many people using it on their flower farms, but we're going to, because the plan for this year is to do things as easily and efficiently as possible. It's only going to be me and Ian here on the farm this year, and that means we need to think of ways that we can make farming the amount of space that we have easier for us. It took me an entire day to plant that greenhouse. You know, it's going to take me, you know, an entire half day to plant out those ranunculus beds, but we are going to pull out the seeder right now, and we are going to plant 10 different beds, and it's going to take us an hour. It goes very, very fast. We can very quickly get our seeds into the ground. The Jang seeder is very accurate and very precise, so I don't necessarily have to go back and do a lot of thinning after. It saves us a lot of time. First up, we're gonna plant 2 beds of carrots because it's already set up for carrots. $10,000 Mokum planted. Time for 10,000 Adelaide. Probably the most complicated part about using a seeder is that you need to adjust the different wheels and the different spacing on the machine depending on the crop that you're planting. You know, it only takes a couple minutes, but like I said, this is easy and efficient. Next we're doing lettuce.
5 beds.
It's 5 beds, halfway done. All the veggies are done. Now the hard part, the flowers.
What are you doing?
Pinch and snapdragons.
Looks good in here.
It's feeling pretty good. We're where we want to be now. We're in the greenhouse, which is now 100% planted, which feels amazing. It's gonna look absolutely gorgeous in here, you know, in as quickly as a month. Maybe flowers. Oh my god, it's gonna be so amazing. We had all those ranunculus get planted out. They're in the ground. Everything's looking good. We had so many seeds that I was feeling really behind on. I was getting really nervous how late they're getting into the ground. They're in the ground, they are getting watered, and because of how warm the weather is now, they're the perfect temperatures for germinating. So there's gonna be no delays on germination. They're gonna pop up really quick. It's gonna work out. I was feeling pretty stressed. I was feeling pretty nervous about how much we'd kind of gotten behind on schedule. But at this point, you know, we put in the effort, we worked really hard, and we're caught up. And you know, there's still so much more to do. We have those lisianthus that showed up that need to get into the ground this week. We have a bunch of the other cold hardy crops that we've been hardening off. They're gonna be ready to get into the ground. And beyond that, we have so many more seeds that need to come. You know, it's just a constant flow for the next month of things needing to get started, needing to get into the ground. But at this point, we are on schedule. We're where we want to be, which feels really good. You know, it's like a weight is taken off of us to be, you know, back where we should be. What I really want to do is spend the day in this greenhouse because it is warm and it's green in here, and those are all of my favorite things. But what I have to do is go get another round of seed started. So back to work. I have a bunch of seeding that needs to get done, so I called in my work crew. These are the best seeders.
Fat.
What you're seeding, Leah, is lemon bergamot.
Lemon bergamot.
This is lemon bergamot. Very small seeds. These kids are so fast at seeding the trays that it's hard for me to keep up with them. You like doing this part?
Yep.
And what's your favorite part?
Soya and seeds.
And seeds. You like doing it all?
Yep. Whoa. Whoa.